Hello and welcome to this week's Devil in the Detail podcast. I'm Rob Parkinson and we're here talking all things at Salford. Red Devils on the show this week. As ever, we've got Paul Whiteside. All right, Paul, how's your week been so far?
Yeah, hi Rob. Yeah, okay. Thank you, mate. All right, busy at work and what have you. But yeah, looking forward to the weekend and another match. And season's getting closer now with games every week. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this Friday.
Yeah, we've got a lot to go on this week. Paul, it was great to get back to the match last week on Saturday, Derby Day against Swinton. It was a nice day, lots of fans as well. It was a really good event.
Yeah, it was, and I was just a bit late getting there. To be honest, we waited for my dad to get his skates on, and we was like, I missed the kickoff, but that's the first time I've been late for a match for a long time. But yeah, enjoyed it. Sadly, I didn't get to see the women's game, but I've read all about it and seen bits and pieces on the internet. So I'd like to go to their next match if I can do. It sounded a great event, that, and everyone was dead excited about it. So they've had some really good coverage as well. So really exciting that, and then obviously the match afterwards, the men's game, it was great. It was, I thought Swinton came and gave a good account of themselves. It was a good atmosphere. There was a good crowd there as well. And yeah, really enjoyable day. And it's great to be back when you've had that much time off. You just want to see the players again, don't you? And see a match. And, there was some impressive performances on both sides, really.
Yep. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the women's game, and we'll look at all the big news coming out of the club in the last few days. So we'll start with a victory against Swinton.
You're listening to Devil in the Detail, and this is your big match review.
So Salford were victorious in their first pre-season match of the season. They beat Swinton 48 points to 12. Paul, you know what? I thought it was a good game. I thought it was a good workout for the players, and it's a kind of sort of pre-season match that you need early.
Yeah, of course it is. I don't tend to read too much into pre-season friendlies, really, as they call them. I don't think it's a friendly, but it's more of a warm-up game, isn't it? And yeah, considering they've not played for a long time, I think we did well. We scored some good tries, and yeah, it's never you never get like a fluid 80-minute performance, do you, in one of those sort of games, because players are coming off and things like that. I think for a coach, you just want to work on situations, work on combinations, and give players the game time that they need and avoid injuries. And they seem to do that. So I saw a few comments from people. I think Swinton supporters saying, "Oh, Salford are going to struggle this, that, and the other," but I'd never read anything into it. I just thought it was an enjoyable game. Both sides got a run out, and it was good. It was a good performance with some good tries, and nice to see some of the newer players. I thought Ryan Brierley got involved and it looked very, very enthusiastic. I thought Deon he came in and did a great job. Got man of the match award, and for a player that's probably at the start of the season or before that game kicked off, you wouldn't have really had him on the. I don't think there's many supporters who would have had him in the opening sort of 13. And whereas now, after that performance, he's put himself right up there now. So he did himself the world of good. So I was impressed with a few of the new signings as well. So yeah, it was good. It was good to get there and good to see the game.
Yeah, talking about Deon Cross, I spoke to him this week and he told us all about how it went. And here it is now. All right, Deon, it's Rob. Congratulations on the try-scoring debut against Swinton Lions last week. How long in advance did you know you were going to start the game, and were you nervous?
No, it pretty much got dropped on me the day before. I think Paul Rowley just said to me, he said, Dan Sargent's suspended. He said, you're going to be playing centre. So I think I've only had one training session at centre, and he's just threw me in at the deep end, really. But yeah, no, I loved it. Loved every minute.
You played in the centre and scored an impressive display. Do you see yourself as a centre going forward, or are you willing to fill in anywhere in that back line going forward?
Yeah, I see myself as a winger. That's my number one spot. But also as well, if the team need me at centre, I could play centre as well.
You started at Sellands, but this is your first full-time Super League pre-season. How does this compare to pre-seasons you've had experience before at Barrow and Widnes, and have you felt any benefits so far being involved in that full-time environment?
Oh yeah, it's totally different. I feel the intensity wise, it's a lot higher intensity I try to compare it to, it's like you're playing a game at training, so it's just 110%, 100 mile an hour at training. Compared to championship, it's a little bit more laid back. It's still tough, but it's nowhere near as tough as Super League. Yeah.
Halifax this week with a big step up in quality. Are you excited about the game and the challenge that lay ahead in Super League in 2022?
Yeah, feeling confident going into this game after last week's performance. I've got something to build off. I was nowhere near my best last week, still a bit rusty, obviously, for not playing for such a long time. But yeah, confident. I think Halifax are a really physical side, and playing against them last year, really tough through the middle, got some good forwards, and got some experience who've played in Super League. For me, going forward in 2022, hopefully, to get a starting spot, whether it's wing or, if I need to fill in at centre, I'm happy to play there as well, just as long as I get that chance. But yeah, it'd be good for me to play at wing this year and, just have a successful season.
So that was Deon Cross talking to me, Paul, and he said that he didn't really know beforehand he was going to play, and Paul Rowley just sort of sprung it on him.
Yeah, that's right. And he did well. He looked like he had a good turn of pace. And, I thought he was a winger, and he came in there and played in the centre. So I think he showed a bit of versatility there. But no, he did look very energetic, very quick. And he had a hand in a couple of the tries as well. So he seemed to have something about him. Very, very impressive performance there. And people might say, oh, well, it's only against Swinton. But you only play against, the team in front here. And, he didn't do himself any harm there. It's great to play well there. And hopefully he keeps his place in the side this week for Halifax. And if he has another good game there, we could see him in the side against Warrington. So I know there's some big names in the three quarters. And obviously you've got Sargent who's suspended. You've got Callum Watkins in there as well. And the lad from who's coming over from Australia, whose name I can't pronounce. But, it's good to see a lad doing well there, a homegrown lad as well. And I know Deon's he's not a young kid, is he? He's been around for a while now. He's sort of mid-20s, isn't he? So this is the opportunity now for him to seize his chance. I mean, if he doesn't take it now, will he ever take it? So he's got a massive opportunity now, and he really seems like he's got a good attitude to me.
Yeah, I think it's Tim Laffine. I think it was announced that he's got his visa through now, so he should be coming shortly, Paul, which is great for Paul Rowley. Obviously, lots of covering that back division. Cross says that he'd like to play anywhere. He can fill in anywhere in that back division. So it's great that we have these people who can compete for places.
Well, that's right, and we've got Joe Burgess there to come back as well, who's not played. Reece Williams and Ken Seo. So you've got some good wingers and some good centres there. So good 3/4 line. So there's competition for places, isn't there, in all those back positions, really. I mean, Ryan Brierley, Morgan Escray looking like they're going for the full back position. And, I was impressed with Ryan at the weekend. And then we seem to have a team full of back rowers. We've got plenty. I mean, we know we've got a few out on the sidelines at the moment. Joe Green and Jack Wells to come in. But I thought Shane Wright was very good in that game at the weekend. He scored a couple of tries and set a few tries up as well. And, looks a real good, solid second row man. And Elijah Taylor, I thought, did really well. He struggled with injury last season, but he's a very, very clever player. So there was a lot of impressive performances there for me. And, good to see. It's always good to see new guys when they come in, play well. So it's exciting. Mark Sneed and Brodie Croft in the halfbacks as well. Mark Sneed, exciting player. I know he missed a couple of kicks, didn't he, at the weekend, and got some ironic boos from the crowd. But no, I think he'll do well for us.
Yeah, lots of creativity, lots of tries from Brodie Croft, Ryan Brierley, Deon Cross, Ken Seo and Andy Ackers going over in the first half. Ball. We went in 26-0 to the good, and it was a solid performance, I thought.
Yeah, it was. I thought Swinton came and played some enterprising stuff early doors, didn't before we scored. They got a penalty goal, didn't they? And decided to run it. I thought they might kick for goal there, but they didn't. But they gave a good account of themselves. But I think we scored sort of 3 tries in very, very quick succession, didn't we, at one stage there, and put our foot on the gas. And sometimes when a Super League side does that against, don't forget Swinton, the League One, the 2 leagues below us, aren't they? It's hard for them to sort of to get up to that level. But other than that, I thought they made a real good fist of it. They've got some decent players there. In that League One, I think they're going to be very, very competitive. But for us, Yeah, it was a decent first half performance and good to entertain the crowd with some good tries, some exciting tries as well. Brodie Croft and Ryan Brierley on that left edge there, they did a bit of damage there, and it was entertaining stuff to watch.
Yeah, Swinton hit back though with a try from, I think, Mike Button, Will Hope, but then obviously Salford found another gear, and we scored a few tries towards the end. Andy Acker's got his second, Reece Williams got one, and we were in control, and I was quite impressed with the way they played, because obviously I think to myself, with pre-season, it's difficult to figure out where you are this early in the process, but they didn't seem like they were flying, but it didn't seem like they were struggling, which is always a good sign.
Yeah, that's right. As I said before, nobody ever remembers pre-season results, do they? At the end of the day, it's about tuning yourself up, and for us, we've got to be ready for that game at Weldon Road against Castleford, because that's going to be a tough game. That's going to be a real tough game. They've got a new coach, a lot of new players in there as well. Castleford's always an hard place to go. So that's the match. I mean, I know you've got Lee Mossop's testimonial coming up at Warrington, but to me, it doesn't really matter a fig that. You want to play well and do well, but the bread and butter is that Super League game at Castleford. That's what we're striving for, and that's what we need to be ready for. So, Paul Rowley will want to tune his players up and have them, fit as butcher's dog ready for that game. So these games now, you're playing Swinton, Halifax and Warrington, a step up every week. Halifax, no disrespect to Swinton, but will be a step up. They're a tougher side. They're in a league above. So, we'll see how we go this week, and let's hope we'll improve, because don't forget, it's your first hit out. I mean, I know they had a bit of a training sort of session behind closed doors game against London a couple of weeks ago, I think it was. But, when you've been out for that long, since, November or whenever, you've only been training. You've not been that match hardness, have you? So the game against Swinton blows the cobwebs off, and then Halifax, I think you'll see a bit more intense performance this coming Friday.
I spoke to Ryan Brierley after the game also, and this is what he had to say.
Hey mate, all right?
Yeah. How do you think that went?
Good, as I mentioned. Then I think it was quite evident that the style of play. I think we got a lot of that into us. Things we can fix up, and but I don't know. I just said to Luke then, I'm pleased that it went down well, especially the style of play. It's different. Not for me, obviously. I've been involved in that system for a while with Rolls and Aggie, but it's very different and probably a lot different to previous years. Going to take some getting used to for fans, and we are going to throw the ball around. So I think it's not. What I stress is it's definitely not off the cuff, because we practice that way. So it's definitely not off the cuff. So please don't write about it being off the cuff and an off the cuff style, because it's probably a little bit disrespectful, I suppose, because we do train so hard, and that's Rolls and Aggie and Danny's philosophy. So really, really excited about what the levels. Listen, we know we're scratchy in parts, but really excited by the levels we can potentially go to with that style.
Yeah, scoring your first try as well in front of an empty stand, unfortunately, but it must be a big moment for you.
Yeah, I was in two minds whether to celebrate it or not. Because normally I just put the ball in the stand and stuff. So especially with it being Salford, yeah. Again, I know it's a friendly, and in the grand scheme of things probably means nothing. But for me and my family, I think that they've probably dreamed of that moment for many years. So to see, regardless of whoever's watching and what type of game it is, to see me cross the line in a Salford shirt, I know it meant the world to him, especially my dad. So I'm really happy I could do that for him. It's nice to give back to your family who've supported you for so long. So really humbling, bit of an emotional moment. So I'm glad they're happy anyway.
Yeah, Halifax next week. Step up from this and another opportunity to impress.
Yeah, definitely. I think looking at how Halifax have recruited, I think it'll be a tough game, to be honest. I think it'll be a real challenge for us. I think we're going to get a few bodies back as well on the back of the COVID stuff. So plenty more competition for places. You could tell it out there, a lot of giddiness, and everyone was ready to play. So it was a great day for it. I suppose you can, especially in pre-season, you think of dark days and wintry nights, but that was a nice day to kind of get all your skill in. So it was a real pleasant day, to be honest. And I'm glad plenty of numbers turned out in yourselves. I think it was really good. I think the the attention of it was brilliant, and hopefully we can keep creating a brand of rugby and a style of play what is entertaining for you guys to report on, which would be a great bonus for us.
So that was Ryan Brierley after the game, talking to himself, Paul, and he was sort of impressed with the style of play that the boys are trying to sort of create. He talked about how open it was, and it's not off the cuff. He wanted to stress that, you know, they practice hard, it's all organised.
A lot of people said to me last season about matches saying we're predictable, we're a bit boring to watch and things like that. I don't know. I think there was some exciting games last season. I mean, that 9-8 game at Huddersfield was quite exciting. Yeah. But I do get what you mean. I think the side do look a bit more attacking. If you look down the squad, I think you've got more attacking players there now. Perhaps a bit more flair in the side there, particularly at halfback. So mind you, Tuathala here was a good halfback, wasn't it? But I think you've got a bit more structure there as well. It looked like that to me. And Ryan Brierley is another player that's been sort of a crossroads in his career. He's been well travelled. He's played at Leeds, he was at Huddersfield. I think for him now, he's come to a club that he supported as a boy, and you know, it's time for him to make his mark on Super League, and I think he's got an opportunity now with Salford. He's at a place where I think he's going to get adulation from the supporters. You know, if he gives it his all every week, the supporters will give him the love. He'll get the love at Salford. There's no doubt about that. And I got the impression on Saturday that you know, his heart does seem in it at Salford. He looked like full of enthusiasm. He had a smile on his face, and that's all supporters want. And if he can bring that game to Salford, that support game, that, you know, the way he plays, the way he backs up, he'll score a few tries in. I mean, you look at Richie Myler at Leeds, he does that sort of job at Leeds. He plays at full-back, but he's all over the place. He's always there backing up. And if we can get that sort of player off Ryan Brierley, you've got a very, very useful player there.
Yeah, I think he talks about sort of educating himself, watching sort of videos on YouTube, and because obviously he's moving into that fullback role, he feels like he's learning all the time, which is great for us. It's great for him, and it's great for the club as well and the team, because obviously, like you said, he's a threat. And with him and Sneed and Brodie Croft, Andy Ackers in that sort of diamond shape, you've got creativity all over there, Paul. So if you've got your runners, you'll get tries.
Yeah, definitely. Looking at Brodie Croft, I didn't really think he was a creator. He looked more like he's going to be sort of a runner. So I think you've got Mark Sneed to do your creative. Because for me, when you've got two halfbacks, you can't have two the same, really. You need the two different players. You need one as your runner and then one as your anchor man, one who's going to guide you around the pitch. So we've got the strike players there. I think Andy Ackers, as you said, is another guy there who's got massive potential. He's not quite fulfilled it yet, Salford, but I think this could be the season for him. You know, he's settling into the side now. Obviously, it was difficult last season for anybody to settle in because you had a lot of games postponed, you had players self-isolating, this, that, and the other. So it's hard to get that sort of rhythm. So this time now, I think, you know, players like him, Ryan Brierley, you've got a good attacking sort of spine there of the side. The halfbacks are going to be pivotal for us, aren't they? But we saw quite a bit of quality there from Croft and Sneed, and I mentioned Elijah Taylor before. He's part of that spine as well, isn't he? At loose forward, he's got a cracking pair of hands on him as well. If he can get that ball shifting out wide, you got your back rowers there. That Shane Wright looks a very, very useful player. So all the signs are there for a good season. I know the squad's not massive, but if we can avoid injuries and play things right and be wise about it, there's no reason why we can't make a mark on Super League this season.
Yeah, I agree with that. I thought defensively, Swinton sort of threw the kitchen sink at us sort of in the first 10 minutes of either half, and we stood up to that pressure, which is good. Obviously, different with Super League intensity and Super League speed, but good sign.
Yeah, there was a few mistakes. Were disappointing. I know, was it Elijah Taylor dropped the ball, didn't he, from the kick-off, or made a mess of it at the kick-off, and there was little things like that perhaps we need to stamp out, because a Super League side, maybe like Castleford, would have scored and took advantage of that, but these are the things you've got to iron out. That's why you play pre-season games. You've got to get ready. You're not going to get everything 100% and tick all the boxes in game one. So you've got to work on things, haven't you? And hopefully you play Halifax, and then you come away from the Halifax game on Friday night and say, yeah, we've played better today, and it's been a better performance. It's been more intense, and we get a better run out. So yeah, I don't think Paul Rowley will be looking into that game too much and sort of being wound up about it. He'll probably be disappointed that they let two tries in. I mean, I was disappointed, not taking anything away from Swinton, but I wanted us to nil Swinton. But I think Paul Rowley would have done. You go into those sort of games and you want to pride yourself on your defence, don't you? But credit to Swinton, they played some good stuff and took their opportunities.
Yeah. So obviously, we're moving on now to the Halifax game, and that's something obviously Paul Rowley will be looking at, and hopefully we'll take the negatives from last Saturday, even though there wasn't that many, and obviously a few players coming back, and we'll put in another good performance going forward.
Yeah, Paul Rowley's old club, Halifax. He spent quite a number of years there, didn't he, in the Super League in the 90s. A good, proud club as well. Dan Murray, one of our old friends on the podcast, he plays at Halifax now, so it'll be exciting to see him again, because I know he's doing really well at Halifax and he's well loved by the supporters there, and playing for the Colin Dixon Trophy as well. That's something special. So the last time we competed for that, I think, was a bitterly cold day, wasn't it? A few years ago, I think Robert Louis dropped a goal, 13-6 at
yeah.
Rings a bell, yeah. That was a very cold. I can remember taking my youngest daughter there, and she was absolutely freezing. I think I've got a photograph of her in the crowd shivering. But yeah, it's always good to play Halifax. It's a nice away trip going there as well. I'm sure they'll bring some supporters to the AJ Bell, and looking forward to Friday night. It should be another step up.
Yeah, let's also talk about the women's game. Salford Devils ladies won their first game against Swinton Lions. They won 30 points to 4. Paul, a great result for the ladies. Obviously, just come together and coming away with a big win there.
Like I said, I missed the game on Saturday, being a bit late to it, but the enthusiasm of the players and everybody on Twitter and Facebook, social media, and it's been absolutely outstanding, really, to see. Gareth Walker's done a massive piece in the newspaper as well, which was great. Great for the club, really. I think he's helping to put us on the map, and it's going to be a long road. It's not something that you can do overnight. I mean, you look at the top sides in women's rugby league, Leeds and St Helens, and they've got some quality players, and probably, great respect to Salford, their players are probably a level above us at the moment, aren't they? But that's up to us to get to that level now, and you've got to start somewhere. And we started there with a win, so I think it's on about building a process now. And the more people we can get behind our club, I've said it before, is the better. Let's have a wheelchair team, a women's team, you name it. Let's have them all playing for Salford Rugby League Club. It made me feel proud. I know Paul King was really proud about it. Great to see all the love for it on the social media, like I said, and great result. And they all seem to have enjoyed themselves. I've seen some of the ladies having the pizza at the end of the game as I was coming in. And great to see, and looking forward to the next game. I know they've announced some fixtures, haven't they, as well? So I'll be doing my best to get to them and cheer them on.
Talk about this game, though. I'll give you a breakdown on what happens. Salford's first try scorer historically, she was called Vanessa Hadley. She went over. We've got a pop-up podcast with her that's going to be out in the next couple of days. Fascinating interview. Lots of great stuff. She told us about the Women's Rugby League and how she got into it. Sam Boyles crashed over to make it 8-0 Salford. Swinton hit back with the try from Burkitt for them, but then Salford, in a 2-minute period, crashed over with 2 tries, one from Lauren Ellison and one from Abby Collins to stretch the lead further. Demi Jones converted to make it 18-4, and then captain Louise Fellingham, she crashed over and Salford were away then, and Casey Naylor finished the scoring, and another goal from Jones to make it 34. So ladies scoring tries, playing attractive rugby. A great day for Salford Red Devils.
Yeah, well, the article I was referring to before was with Gareth Walker, I think, with his Daily Mirror article, and that was a great read as well. So she's doing great things there, and it's great publicity for the club, as I said, and they deserved it. They deserved the victory, and I think they've been working really hard, haven't they? For this, there's been a lot of training going in. Dedication goes into that training 2 nights a week. You're working and you're doing a job as well. So they've really put the hours in, to get to this. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I didn't expect Salford to win that game. I know Swinton have been going a while, they're established. I thought might be a really tough game, but they just seem to no disrespect to Swinton, not brush them aside, but really sort of be beyond expectations there, really, and win the game quite comfortably. So yeah, a great performance and a great start to Women's Rugby League for Salford Rugby League.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. I'll tell you the fixtures now. They've got Lee Minor Rangers on the 20th of February, which is a Sunday, away. A 2 p.m. kickoff. Then they play Rochdale on the 26th of February at 12:30. I think that's at home. And then they play Wakefield on the 6th of March at 2 p.m. I think. No, that's not at home. It's at Caddy's
So Caddy's Head. Rhinos, yeah.
Stadium.
Yeah, I saw that today. So Caddy's Head's not too far to get to. So I'll be doing my best to get down to that one. Then there's a Rochdale Hornets game as well. So yeah, really exciting times for the ladies. And wish them all the best. And going off Saturday's result, I don't think they'll have too many problems. I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, Caddy's Head Rhinos. It was. That's basically, I think, by the sound of it, is the home ground. Postcode is M445EH. If you want to go and watch them against Rochdale on the 26th of Feb, 12:30 kickoff, and then Wakefield on the 6th of March, 2 p.m. kickoff at the same place. So hopefully people will get down there, support the ladies, and they'll grow and grow. And it'll be exciting times in the future. So that's look back at both matches, and now we'll look at all the big news coming out this week. So, first big piece of news, Paul, end of last week, really. Alex Gerrard signed for us, a prop forward, ex-Lee, big unit, showed some good touches against Swinton. Good signing.
Yeah, he's a big lad. Yeah, I noticed that. I remember him playing for Widnes. He's not an old guy either. He's quite a youngish fella, and I think we needed strengthening really there, and in that position, especially in the front row. And he looked one of the biggest forwards on the pitch to me at the weekend. So yeah, it's a good sign that you can never have enough forwards, can you? And enough guys in the front row doing the hard yards and doing the work. So he seems like he's another guy with a good attitude as well, and with a point to prove. So yeah, like you said, some good touches there for him, and it'll be interesting to see how he goes, against Halifax this week if he gets another run out.
Yeah, we obviously talked about our pack and obviously being a little bit light, but signings like Alex Gerrard fills the gap, Paul, and that's important. Obviously, with the team we have, you need your sets of forwards to be going forward to create the space for your backs to score tries.
Yeah, well, we had two new players in there at the weekend. Well, a couple of new players in there. We had King, didn't we, in the front row, and Akawala as well, who played, and you had that Shane Wright coming in. Sam Luckley was on there as well. So Sam looked trim. He looked like he trimmed down a bit to me, and lost a bit of weight. He looked really athletic, and it's a big season for him. You've got Jack Wells coming back in from injury, I think, and Greenwood as well. James Greenwood's got to come in. So there's plenty of players there. Jack Ormonride missed at the weekend, didn't he? So I think we've got plenty of options in the pack, and he's probably just the size people were worrying about. But Alex Gerrard's a big lad, and I'm sure he'll be a good addition for us.
Yeah, other news, we're playing Halifax on Friday night for the Colin Dixon Trophy, a legend at both clubs, and hopefully, I think we won the last one. Was it 13-7 at the AJ Bell?
No, it was at Halifax.
Oh, was it? So that's good. Hopefully we can retain that.
Yeah, let's hope so. Yeah, I mean, it's a great trophy, isn't it? It's a Hall of Famer at Halifax and Salford, Colin Dixon, and a long time ago he signed for Salford. I think it was sort of November time, 1968. So when he signed at Salford, and played an awful lot of games for us and coached the club, and a tremendous player in his career. And yeah, it's great to have that trophy, and to have the two sides play for that at the weekend. I think it'll be smashing that, and they'll both be busting their gut to get that trophy. And as I said before, it's a step up from the Swinton game, but yeah, I'm looking forward to Halifax are a good club, aren't they? And I'd love to see them back in the Super League. I think they're one of the, when I first started watching rugby league, Halifax were one of the top dogs, really. They won the Challenge Cup, and they won the Championship in the 80s as well, didn't they? Had some super players playing from at Thrummall. It was always a very hard place to go to. I don't think I ever saw Salford win there. I see us lose a few times, but yeah, good club, and yeah, the Colin Dixon Trophy is really special.
Yeah, final bit of news, Paul. A good news story, really. A few weeks ago, the club announced that they were sending some shirts and some balls to Ghana to allow the people over there who wants to play to have better equipment and things like that. And they finally arrived, Paul, which is great. There's sort of pictures on social media of these Ghanaians playing with the balls and wearing the shirts, and it's great that we're getting out there and we're supporting them at this time.
Yeah. I was thinking about that the other day, and it's magnificent that you can have something like that over the other side of the world, and though spreading the name of Salford. And wouldn't it be great if we could have a sort of a supporters branch? Like we have a supporters club branches all over the world. Have one in Ghana, because I noticed when I was working there, Man City's round a bit back, and I might have told you the story before, on the walkways that go up to the stands. They have all the names of all the different supporters clubs they've got. They've got thousands all over the world. And how good would it be to get some Salford ones all over the world? I know we've got a lot of supporters in Australia. We've got a Facebook page dedicated to the Australian supporters, but Ghana as well. It's a massive country, isn't it? And I know they like the football over there, don't they? But if we can get them into rugby league, and who knows, in a few years' time, you could have some real athletes coming from that neck of the woods who want to play rugby league, and you could get them playing in Super League. So yeah, it's a little acorns, isn't it, Rob? But things start from that, don't you? And great gesture from Salford, it really was, and those people will be really thankful for that, and they're really excited by it. And good luck to them.
Yeah, we've got 32 listeners in Ghana, Paul. Every week they listen. Yeah,
it's amazing, isn't it? I mean, you told us that. We were chatting about that last week, weren't we? And it baffles me that technology, isn't it? How people can listen to it. But it's great if they enjoy it, and and listening to us and supporting the club. I think that's great. We've just got to spread it and keep getting more and more. But hats off to those people in Ghana.
So that's all the big news, and now we'll look forward to the game against Halifax on Friday.
It's time for the Devil in the Details Big Match Preview.
So, Salford face Halifax at the AJ Bell Stadium on Friday, Paul. I spoke to head coach Paul Rowley in the build-up to that, and this is what he had to say.
Coach's Corner.
All right, Paul, it's Rob. What 3 positives do you take from the Swinton win last week?
So 3 positives. Obviously, the physical side of things, to get some minutes under our belt. I thought we were very well disciplined. Everything was good on that part. In a time where there's a massive focus on concussions and head injuries, so we're gonna, we want to be really good and disciplined and keep bodies on the field, which we did, and just the combinations and giving ourselves a start point I thought was good. So the DNA that we want to try and implement, was there, was evident, and if anything else, it's just a matter of always fine tuning and adding more detail. So lots of positives to pick, 3 directs up. I know I've waffled a little bit there, but
this part of the season is all about fitness, building confidence and putting structures in place. From what you've seen so far at the Swinton game and in training, have you got a starting 17 in mind for the Super League, or are there shirts still up for grabs?
Shirts up for grabs. That's the easiest answer to that. I don't think I need to elaborate any further. Obviously, you'll all piece a different team up together. So our spine's looking pretty solid and probably the easiest part to select. But other than that, no, it is all.
Halifax on Friday night. What you're looking for most this week, which you didn't see at the Swinton game?
Well, we got to see it all last week. Other than, we just obviously want to progress in terms of the detail. We've got more bodies, so it'll have a different feel to it. Probably a little bit more disjointed this week. And so, again, it'll be the same objectives of last week, really, against a more physical and a better side, with all due respect to Swinton, that Halifax are going to be looking to be top 3 in Championship. and they're a very, very good side. So just a tougher opposition.
So that was Paul Rowley. Paul talking about the previewing the game against Halifax, and we talked about the Swinton game, and that he was happy with the physical side of it. But I think this Halifax side is going to be a much physically bigger test.
Yeah, I'd say so as well. I mean, I know Swinton are probably one of the favourites in the League One, but you've got a big step up to the Championship and some good sides in that Championship. If you look at the bookmakers, you've got Featherstone Rovers and Leigh, who are out and out going to be the favourites, the pair of them, aren't they? But Halifax, I'd probably say they're third or fourth, in the running. Yeah, they're going to be a good side in that division. They've done well for the last few years, haven't they? Finishing in the playoffs and around it. So got some clever players as well. Like I said before, Daniel Murray's in that team there, and there's a good pack of forwards. They're always a tough side to beat, especially at home. So they're going to be a tough team in that division, and it's going to be a tough test for us. It's up to us to step our game up. There's obviously a trophy on the line as well. There's pride on the line, isn't there? And those players that played well against Swinton will want to play well again. And we mentioned before Deon Cross, didn't we? And players like that who were probably, I don't like saying first choice, but players who are probably on the fringes, so to speak. It's up to them to play well and put themselves in contention, because anybody could play in that cast game. If you're playing well, you're going to get picked under Paul Rowley. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, because obviously we've got quality in all areas now, Paul. So everyone's vying for that place, and that pushes everyone forward. It's going to be interesting to see the kind of team that Paul Rowley puts out, because we've got obviously bodies available now, and it's about the balance of rotating the team and making sure everyone gets fit and playing the right people in the right places and getting the processes in place.
Well, yeah, you've got your two halfbacks. You've got Brodie Croft and Mark Sneed there, but you've also got another cracking player in Chris Atkin, who can play halfback and he can also play hooker. So you've got that competition there. So it's not the case that Mark Sneed and Brodie Croft can just sit back on the laurels and say, "Well, we're in because we're the halfbacks," because there's Chris Atkin waiting there. I know Chris will play hooker anyway, or if he's asked to play there. But it's nice to have that player breathing down your neck, isn't it? Because you might not think that, but I think any player would rather have somebody behind him pushing him that bit more, because it makes you play better. So yeah, as I said, I think it's a step up this week, but it's just going to be a step up in intensity. I think Halifax is going to be a bit quicker. They're going to be a bit stronger, and I'm interested to see how we go and how we cope with it, and how we sort of throw our attacking shapes there, and are we going to do anything different? It's going to be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see if anybody else comes into the side who didn't play. I know Dan Sargent, I think, still suspended. I think he got 3 matches, didn't he? So he'll still be out. But Callum Watkins is still injured. So will we see the likes of Jack Orman or Joe Burgess? I think he's still out, isn't it? But we'll see what happens. We've also got the other guy as well, Amir Burra, the young hooker. We didn't see him at weekend, so whether he'll come in as well. I'm looking forward to it. It should be a good night. It's going to be cold, I think. I believe it's going to be. I took the dog out tonight. It's absolutely freezing about 8 o'clock. So get wrapped up warm for Friday night at the AJ Bell.
Yeah, Joe Burgess and Amir Burra are both in the 25-man squad, Paul. Jack Stevens is also in there as well. He was in against Swinton, and he looked good when he came on.
He did. I saw Jack Stevens last year. I went down to one of the open training sessions that they had at the AJ Bell, and saw him down there on the training pitch, and he looked like a young lad to me, training with him. So you can see by the shape of him, he's not got like his sort of man size yet. But what I did see of him was a really clever player, really good pair of hands, and you could see that he had something. I remember talking to Alan Bradshaw about him and saying, watch him, he's really got something about him. So I was excited to see him when he came on at the weekend, and he's still only sort of say skinny, but he's not sort of bulked up just yet. But he looked the part. He didn't look out of place. He looked the part on Saturday, and his hands were good. And I enjoyed to see him play. So he's another player. I'd like to see him get some more game time at the weekend, because he's definitely one for the future.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. We've got Paul Parkin just jumped on. Looks like he's been shoveling snow with a bobby hat like that. Is that a birthday present, Parker?
Yes, it looks like my request last week was granted, and arrived. So very happy. a bit warm in the house with it on, like, but yeah, I thought I'd let everybody know that I did get one.
Exciting. We
This
thought
time
you've got another 46 in a box next year.
I'm still waiting for them, for all the presents.
We're just chatting on about the Halifax game. You know, what's your thought process on that Halifax game? What are you looking forward to?
I think looking at the squad that's been released, I think I want to see, obviously, the players that didn't get a game at the weekend get a chance, see what their fitness levels are like. But it's more about what I saw on Saturday against Swinton, these partnerships and working together, especially Croft and Sneyd. I thought they looked really good together on Saturday. And I want to see more of that, more of the, you know, let's get that flow going between them. And I think as well, someone like Amir Burra coming into the squad as our backup hooker, he's going to need time. I want to see what he can do. You know, because it'll be a test against Halifax. They're not, like I said last week, they're not a bad side at all. So yeah, I think it's more just working on the combinations. You know, an extra couple of players are back into the squad now, so we can start sort of looking like we should be doing for the start of the season. I know there's still a few missing with injuries, and Tim Laffey, I think he's got his visa now, hasn't he? But he still won't be here for this. But yeah, it's just about getting the combinations right, really.
Yeah, exciting times. Obviously, like Paul said before, a friend of the show, we'll call him Paul, Dan Murray for Halifax. We could see how he's developed.
Yeah, I like Dan when he was with us. He was an impressive player. A little bit surprised when he left us. He went over to OKR, didn't he? Before heading back to Halifax, and we got Ryan Lannon back. Yeah, he's a good player. He seemed to be learning every week when I watched him, because he was definitely raw when we first got him. He looked a bit, you know, he sometimes looked a bit lost in games, and for a big, obviously, forward, you need him getting stuck in. But then towards the end of his time with us, and obviously OKR had seen something in him, he stepped it up, and he did look like a decent player. And I read quite a few of his things on Twitter, and he's a good lad. He seems like a nice lad to have about as well. So it'd be good to see him back. You know, another old face visiting us, of which there's some every week at the moment. But yeah, no, I liked Dan. I thought he was a bit unlucky with us not to get more of a chance. But who knows? You know, different time, different coaches. You never know. But I'm sure he's got a few points to prove.
You said the weather was going to be cold, Paul. Anything on that? Is it going to rain or is it going to be fine?
It's going to be nice, isn't it, tomorrow? I think it's going to be dry, isn't it? It's going to be dry and sunny and what have you, but yeah, definitely cold, mate. It wasn't too bad on Saturday against Swinton. The sun was out, and do you know what? That's one of the first times I've been to the AJ Bell Stadium with no wind. It just seemed like really still. But no, I think I'm going to put a couple of coats on Friday night, tomorrow night. I'm definitely going to be wrapped up. I'll have two Bobby hats on.
That's going to come in handy, Parker.
Oh, very much so. I must say, I thought that about the weather actually on Saturday. I sat there and I was expecting to be freezing. I got really wrapped up, and it was actually really warm, especially in the sun at that far end of the stand where we were. It was, when the sun hit you, it was really warm. It made for a really pleasant day, pleasant afternoon out. And obviously, you know, throwing a game of rugby with it, it was quite good. But yeah, I think tomorrow will be a bit different. I think we'll be back to the usual sort of AJ Bell. I think it was built on an iceberg, that place. It's usually freezing. So yeah, I'll definitely be wearing my new hat. Definitely.
Yep. So, Paul, give us your prediction for the match against Halifax.
Tomorrow, let me think. I'm going to go Salford 34, Halifax 12.
34-12. Is there a story behind that? No.
Not really, no. I'll say that.
Okay.
I'd say I'm going to go for another Shane Wright try. I think he'll score again. Enjoyed his performance last week. Like him.
Parker, what have you got for me?
Yeah, I think it'll probably be a little bit closer. Although, to be fair, I'm full of praise for Swinton last week. I thought they were really good. I think the step up in quality, but I still fancy it with these extra players now. 25-man squad this week, not the 19 we were at last week. A bit more changing will disrupt things. We mentioned that last week, but I think we'll be okay. I'll go 44-10.
44-10. Is there a story behind that?
No, just thought of it off the top of my head. Then it came to me, so I'm going to stick with it.
Fair enough.
Best way to be.
Right, I'm going to go Salford 28, Halifax 6, and I'm going CO hat trick.
Close.
I think it'll be a kind of game that they'll kind of work the processes and making sure that the engine's ticking over rather than wanting to score on every set, Paul.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think Paul Rowley will be pleased with the 6. If it's just 6, I mean, he'll probably be disappointed, as I said before, about conceding a couple of tries against Swinton. I mean, I bet their target was to nil Swinton. No disrespect to them, but I bet it was. So his target on tomorrow will be to, keep that defence watertight, and then have it ready for Warrington. I think it's 2 weeks after, isn't it? So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be a good test, this one.
Yeah. I think like Paul said, then I think Paul Rowley will certainly just be focusing a lot more on defence. I mean, we weren't overly troubled, let's be honest, but one of their tries was a little bit soft the other day, but they did throw the ball out and cause us a few problems. The one thing for me that I'd like to see, by the way, is the ball handling just a little bit crisper. I know it's been months since they played, and this is what I mean. This is what these friendlies are for, but I thought too many balls went to ground at times the other day. But overall, it was a good run out, wasn't it? And like Paul said, there was some impressive performances there in Wright and Taylor, and the two halfbacks looked good, and Deon Cross was sensational. I was surprised how good he was playing out of position. So it's good to see them all again this week. Bit more rotation probably, but yeah, we should be well up for it, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so that's the end of this podcast. Parker, brief appearance, but a good one as well.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it's other things came up on this night. I won't do it again, I promise. But yeah, I'll be looking forward to next week, and I'll be fully loaded with all the points I haven't made this week.
We're all going to be sat here waiting on the edge of our seats that way, Paul.
I'm glad he came on wearing that bobble hat, because I want one of them now. No, Nick. I like a bobble hat. I've got a right collection, so especially with this barnet that I'm growing. So yeah, looking forward to it, lads. Looking forward to Friday night.
Yeah, so big thanks for tuning into this week's podcast. Don't forget our pop-up podcast with Vanessa Hadley, where she talks about how much she's enjoying playing for Salford. It's well worth a listen, so make sure you tune into the pop-up podcast in the next couple of days. I'm Rob Parkinson. You can find us on Facebook, Devil the Detail SRD. You can find us on Twitter at DITDSRD. And you can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Radio Contact, Spotify, and YouTube. See you next week.